welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 140. We've got a few things to talk about. Obviously, a little bit about the week in review here. I specifically want to go over tonight's game because that was awesome.
That was pretty sweet.
It was phenomenal. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, we'll get to it as we go on here. But then, of course, as the Evander Kane world turns, there's more to talk about here. I can't wait, though. You know why?
Why?
Because this sounds like we're actually getting closer and closer and closer to the end of talking about Evander Kane.
But that means it probably won't be, and it's just going to continue to drag because there's also that option. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think this is going to end quickly.
No.
Nor amicably. I'm surprised I said that correctly.
That was not bad.
Thank you.
And excellent word choice there.
Oh, thank you.
Not bad at all. This is where you get good vocabulary as well because we say things good here. Again, if you got, somebody who said it was Sam, I think. Can we put that on the screen? What did Sam say to Aaron? He says, Aaron, you better be on your game tonight, I think is what he said. And Sam, we need you to be on your game as well. Please feel free to comment and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But more importantly, where we need you to jump in, share if you can, please. Retweet us, either Facebook or Twitter or wherever the platform.
As I say, our I feel like our Instagram account's not getting enough love, and it's funny, we're not at the Fin Factor, we're at Fin Factor on Instagram.
That
because
might be it.
Some little 8-year-old child has locked down the Fin Factor a long time ago, unfortunately. So we can't get in there. So yeah,
it's probably like a really awesome Lego building channel or something. Okay, like
right.
I have to check it out.
It's probably not been used in like 6-7 years.
Anyway, yes, Instagram is Fin Factor, not the Fin Factor. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and just jump in, start talking about this past week. Now, if I recall, we had said, or I had hoped for, I thought we could get all 6 points. I thought 4 points was more than doable, and 6 I'd be ecstatic, right? To which I believe you sarcastically replied, "Of course, you'd be ecstatic."
Right?
Yes, everybody would be.
Can't do better than 6 points in 3 games.
And I asked you to try to figure it out, but nobody could. So anyway, this week, they ended up getting 4 out of 6. Now, starting off with kind of a deflating loss against the Detroit Red Wings. A 6-2 loss against the Red Wings. Not a good look.
Detroit, I think I'd mentioned it last week. They're kind of an up-and-coming team. They're more, like, compared to Buffalo, Buffalo is just going down. Detroit has been down, and they're starting to come back up. They got a lot of young guys, a lot of good talent that's there, but they're too young, and they're just not gelling quite well. But at the same time, their record is roughly the same as the Sharks. So they're doing as well as the Sharks are doing this year, if you could say they're doing well.
Okay.
That's not like if the Sharks were at the bottom of the barrel for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Which I guess they kind of have been. And do you feel like they're doing better this year than they have been in the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the record, I would say absolutely. They do look better. They look like a better team.
That's my point about Detroit. That's where they're at.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, and I like that. So, I mean, again, if we put the record aside, which actually, I mean, the Sharks' record isn't horrible to say, really. It's not like that bad. But records aside, you take a look at the way that they've been playing, and yes, they've had some games that are stinkers, and this Detroit game kind of being one of them, only scoring 2 and allowing 6. No bueno, right? So, I mean, they have their spurts where they look really good, though, and they look like they could be a contending team. At the same time, let's not forget, this is also a team that's gone through a lot of COVID, some injuries. I mean, tonight's game, they had Jasper Weatherby as their second-line center. Right?
Well, it's funny when Cogliano or Bonino were the centers. Like, wow, that's where we're at right now. Bonino's our second-line center. Was that the last 2 games before that?
Yeah, but at least he's a veteran in the league, I mean, maybe he's not the best number 2 center in the world here, but, I mean, Jasper Weatherby kind of got inserted. Played well, though, at least tonight. We'll get to that. Regardless, so the deflating 6-2 loss, like I said, against Detroit. Let's move on from that. Let's look at happier times. Playing against the Buffalo Sabres.
If they lost that game, man. That's a must win. I mean, every game, I guess, is a must win.
Of course.
You lose to Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo has wins, so there's teams that have lost against them.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want the Sharks to be one of them.
Well, Buffalo started off hot, right? And then they just been cooling off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be able to kind of jump in and play well. Because you know how it is. Oftentimes you'll get a team like the Sharks. And I think it's just fan bases of every team kind of think this way. But maybe in particular for us because we're Sharks fans. Where they kind of play down to the level of the competition, right? So if you're playing against a team that's not so hot, say Detroit. You end up playing not so hot. But it was good to see them kind of bounce back from that game, playing well against a team that they should be beating in Buffalo. So that one, they go up 3-2. I'm sorry, 3-0 actually. And Buffalo kind of storms back. Almost tied up at the end there, but thankfully they kept the puck out of the net, and then they just cruised to a regulation win,
which we haven't seen many of lately. It's either been overtime, shootouts, or losses. So it's good to see a regulation win. I like the RWs better than the ROWs.
I certainly do as well. So much like last week, and we'll jump into the next game because we want to talk about this one too. Picking up 2 out of 3 wins, right? Because last week I think was the same boat. Mm-hmm. So they're on this good trend right now of coming out of a week ahead of, having more wins than losses, basically, right? So they're having a winning record week after week so far. They're putting it together. They may not be streaky in terms of their wins, but they're putting them together. So hopefully this kind of continues. I'd love to see this go throughout up to the trade deadline at least, where we don't want to trade Hertl.
Yeah,
that's my whole motivation.
That we'll see. I mean, if we're going to talk about Kane, if they can get Kane's contract on the books, guess who's going to get re-signed?
Absolutely,
that's a big deal. So, I mean, we can get into that in a minute, but
guess who's now more eligible? I guess you would say to get signed. It doesn't mean he wants to be there. Doesn't mean right. Yeah.
They can at least talk numbers and give him an idea of, hey, if you stay with the Sharks, this is what we can offer. If not, then good luck in free agency.
Absolutely.
Or we'll trade you.
Yeah. So and speaking of Hertl, much like the most popular beaches in Europe, Hertl decides to go au natural, getting the natural hat trick tonight. 3 goals straight. The Philadelphia, they put in, first of all, there's only 2 goal scorers. Okay, James Van Riemsdyk. I'll get it out. Okay, you just be patient. He scores the first 2 goals of the game, and then Hertl comes storming back. I don't say the Sharks come storming back. I say Hertl comes storming back. Scored 3 goals straight. Now 2 of them in regulation, and then the third one in overtime. So kind of like the big hero here, really. And I mean, they were talking about him being on the bench, saying, hey, guys, we got this, right? Being that leader. And, a couple years ago, people said, oh, Hertl for captain. And I'm going, he just doesn't seem like he would be captain material, right? You could be a very good player and motivational and everything else, but maybe not captain material. Yep. But stuff like this does show leadership qualities, where he's kind of rallying the troops. He knows he's their only hope right now, other than Timo Meier. He knows he's their only hope. You got Carlson out.
He's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he is. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Very nice. Hey, see, I'm not the only one with the jokes. All right, we share.
Send money to Disney.
There you go. Okay, we'll do that now too. If you'd like to support
use his last name.
If you'd like to support the show and maybe buy Aaron some better jokes, you can do that with either Venmo. Was good, or you can do that through Super Chat as well. So Venmo at The Fin Factor for those of you who are listening as a podcast. And if you are listening as a podcast, thank you for joining us there as well. By the way, if you've got anything during this live that you want us to talk about, please feel free to put it in the comments, but maybe wait until a little bit later on because we'll be talking about a few things, but we'll be happy to address any of your comments and questions as we go. He stepped up. He stepped up big time. It's what you expect out of him as basically the top player on the team right now. Mm-hmm. It's funny, my brother says he put everybody in his backpack, right? Not just putting somebody on his back, he put the team in his backpack, right? So just went for a trek. No, the guy's phenomenal. I love him. I love his attitude. I love his skill set. I love everything he brings to the rink. I would hate to lose him. So I just hope that, we're close enough in contention, and he can see far enough into the future that, hey, we got guys like Bordelot, we got guys like Eklund, they're coming. It makes sense for me to sign here, even if it means maybe one more year where we're kind of not so hot.
I mean, he doesn't have to sign a long-term deal.
No.
I want him to, but there's a chance that maybe the Sharks sign him for a couple years. Who knows? That he could test the waters. There's an interesting stat that they played right before overtime started. So before he had scored his 3rd goal, that he had the most goals in the NHL since December 5th, the game against the Blue Jackets, with 11 goals. So now he has 12 goals in the last, I don't know how many weeks that is, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks or so.
Was that stat given before the game or
before overtime? Going into overtime. So he had already had 2 goals in that game.
Gotcha.
But yeah, his price is just going up for both a rental player and to get re-signed.
Contract negotiations,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Honestly,
and
though.
it's a contract year. That happens most players every year.
Yeah, it does. It's true, it does. And you would hope that they just play as hard as they can all the time. And I'm not saying Hertl's not, but this year it's
So that overtime
special.
goal, I don't know who was defending, but they took, I want to say, was it Weatherby out there with them? Or no, it was Meyer.
It was
They
Meyer,
went to
yeah.
Timo Meyer. They like completely covered Timo Meyer for the pass and left Hertl open.
Yeah.
It was Jones, right?
Yeah.
And when he up against Jones and he beat Jones. I couldn't tell if it was 5-hole or if it was short side because he was kind of leaning and cheating, I think, because he was trying to cut across. He was expecting a pass, I think.
So they were saying that the puck might have actually deflected off the defenseman's stick.
Oh, that's why. Because
So-
he didn't react. Like I was like, oh, there's the Martin Jones of old. That was cute.
To be fair, I was sitting there watching the game going, gosh, it would be nice to have a good old fashioned Martin Jones breakdown right now. It was 2-0 at the time.
Yes.
Just like, please. And Randy Hahn, first of all, shout out to Randy Hahn. That guy, first of all, he's phenomenal for what he does. But he really willed the Sharks to a win today by saying shut out about 57 times.
I think he does that on purpose.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
100% he does. Yeah. So shout out to Randy Hahn. Randy, if you're watching, thank you so much. It was awesome to see. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm happy that the Sharks picked up 2 out of the 3. I know they could have beat Detroit, and I know that kind of let everybody down for that one. But you know what?
They also get a rematch on Tuesday.
That's true.
Which is fantastic. It's fresh in your head. You know those players. It's too bad we're not in Canada because then, what's his name? Wouldn't be able to travel. Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi is the only player in the NHL that is not vaccinated,
That's
so
right.
he's not allowed to play in any Canadian games.
That's right.
He's not, at least for now. They're not. He's not allowed to travel into Canada.
Yeah. He's the only one. Just
The
do it.
only one.
Just do it. Pure pressure. Just
At this
do it.
point, no. I think he also got COVID a week or 2 ago, like during Christmas break. I think.
He's got the antibodies. He's ready to rock. Okay.
Well, now he has to wait 90 days.
All right. Are we done talking about this week? Actually, you know what? Let's check some comments. See if there's anything anyone's talking about for this week they were happy with, sad with, any other emotions. We're here for you.
Samuel did say that Aaron is on fire so far, so thank you. I'm just going to point out all the comments about me. Navy 47 asked, Aaron, you said one time you were majored in history. That is correct. I have a history degree in history and a business minor because I thought, I can't do much with a history degree. So,
He's not doing much anyway right now.
Scott wants to know when Aaron's garage will become the new set. It will not be my garage. The new set will be in producer Jason's house. We're moving on from garages, which is amazing. 'Cause we've been in the garage. I've been in the garage the whole time. Because when we were doing remote, I was in my garage.
I was in an actual room.
Right.
So
I was not.
felt like a king.
I'm getting promoted out of the garage into a bedroom. I'm so excited. You know what I'm excited for? During winter times when it's freezing cold, if you go back a couple seasons ago, there's episodes where we're at my brother's garage filming it, and my teeth were chattering during the show. And I was trying to hide it. I was so cold. I was like trying to answer you. And I could feel my lips going numb. It was fun.
Wow.
Good times.
You're so dramatic.
I was going to say, people from Calgary are laughing at you right
Yeah,
now.
right.
Jeez. Okay, so...
It was frigid 51 degrees.
All right, cool. Anything from the folks here?
No, let's
they
go.
all want to talk about Kane. Is that what it is? Or they just
of
want
course.
To, they just
You
want to
think people are
compliment
here
you?
to listen to us?
Yeah, probably
and
not. Okay.
Not talk about it?
All right, fine. We'll move on. We'll move on to Evander Kane.
Oh boy.
So, his big dramatic pause, big breath. Here it comes. The team Sharks decide to put Evander Kane on unconditional waivers for the purpose of contract termination, not buyout. Contract termination.
Here you
So
go.
here's this thing that you have better eyesight than I do. So go ahead and read that off.
The San Jose Sharks have informed Evander Kane that he has been placed on unconditional waivers with the intent to terminate his contract for breach of his NHL standard player contract and for violation of the AHL COVID-19 protocols. The club will have no further comment on this matter. Well, that's unfortunate. I want to ask so many questions.
Okay, good dramatic letdown there. So the infraction that they are referring to is that he had traveled to Vancouver apparently while having COVID, right?
Well, he was in the protocol.
Right.
So that means he must have tested positive.
Right.
Either he tested positive or he was exposed, but I don't think if you're exposed, it's that long of a thing. So he must have gotten it.
I'm assuming he got it. Now, does this directly tie in with the fake vaccination card? No, because that happened earlier before the season even started. So this is an example of somebody who you got busted for something, whether it was true or not at the time. You got busted for something or they thought you did something wrong. And then later on, you go and do something wrong. Like the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you got
why
busted.
didn't you just learn from that? Like,
Yeah.
Right?
It was related to COVID both times.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, it's almost like getting suspended for a dirty hit and then going out and doing the same dirty hit.
So,
Like, duh. Like, the suspension's going to be longer if there is one.
So,
it's
like,
just, like, yeah.
whether or not you actually faked it the first time around, why would you actually do it then the second time around? Or did you think you were going to get away with it twice? Right? To me, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Why would you do that? You're already in enough trouble. Why are you playing with fire?
I don't know why you're asking these questions because
they're not going to answer me because
No further comment.
the club has.
But I mean, you're asking this of Evander, who has a history of doing boneheaded decisions. Like, it just doesn't. It
learn.
makes sense that it doesn't make sense.
Learn from it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
rooting
just-
for you, man. Come on, learn from it. You know. Ugh, it's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is the theory that he knew he'd get busted and wanted to terminate his contract?
Okay.
And now they're just playing coy a little? I doubt it.
I doubt that.
What was the other one? I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, his agent, Dan Milstein, I believe is how you pronounce the name. Dan sent out a tweet saying that they plan on fighting it. And again, the font is bigger.
Do you want me to read this?
You may read this.
Okay. Paul's blind, for those that don't know. And this is for all of you people. We are aware of the Sharks' decision to put Evander on waivers for contract termination. If he clears, we will file a grievance. The Sharks do not have sufficient grounds for taking this action. # we are Gold Star, which is that the name of his
I think
agency?
it's Gold Star agency thing or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's what that's all
It's
about.
a weird hashtag.
So it's funny because they say they have no grounds for contract termination, but if he traveled to Vancouver, which there were several witnesses to this.
Yeah. So
right?
the big deal about traveling to Vancouver is if you have COVID, you can't even get into the country right now. Like they'll stop you. So if he got into the country and he traveled, I mean, this is one issue of multiple of this thing. If he got in, that means he must have, and I'm speculating, I don't know. He had to have had either a fake test, like a negative test or something.
Right.
Who knows? But the other issue is
a pair of bolt cutters to cut the fence.
right.
And then
the border in Canada, there's not exactly walls, right? It's
He rode a caribou.
yeah.
they plant maple leaf trees all along the border,
Right.
and hope that the syrup stops you.
It slows you down.
Yeah, that's it. That's their protection.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man,
That was about as good as my au naturel earlier. That was pretty solid. Well done.
thank
well
you.
done. Did somebody Venmo us or something? Because that was a good joke.
no.
Somebody bought him a
No.
good one. Okay, fire away. Keep going.
Anyway, the problem is he went into protocol on December 22nd. He's supposed to isolate himself.
Right.
And he didn't. He left and went somewhere else. He also didn't return to the team until January 6th.
Right.
And then it came out later like, oh, where were you? Oh, I went to Vancouver, which is where he's from. He probably went to visit family. It was during the holidays. But because he was in protocol, he wasn't even supposed to leave. He was supposed to be completely isolated. So he just blew off the not even the team, but the league. Like, it's the league protocol.
I get it. You've got family in Vancouver, and it's the holidays. I get that. We've all spent like a year and a half, 2 years on lockdown. Like, go on a Zoom call for this year, maybe next year, okay? But then the other thing is you've got your daughter. And that was one of the things was that he was going to be with his daughter. That's why he has custody. Don't worry. I'm not traveling, blah, 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 right? I mean, maybe he took her with him. I don't know. But that just seems like
Well, I imagine he didn't leave her at home.
just, well, I don't know. Because if he's traveling for games and stuff, is she coming with him? I don't know how that works. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just really disappointed with the whole thing. I had no hopes whatsoever, by the way. No hopes at all that he was coming back to the Sharks, okay? None whatsoever. I was hoping that he would move on from the Sharks so that he can maybe get himself right with another team because sometimes, again, change of scenery, that stuff. Somebody else says, hey, we're going to be harder on you, right? And he kind of falls in. I would love to see him do well, because at the end of the day, it's a guy named Evander Kane. It's not just some asset or some talking point, right? It's
Absolutely.
a person that's there.
And to that point, Melissa J said, "I feel so sad for his daughter." Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
That is the number one, I would say, loser in this situation. In I don't want to call her a loser. I'm just saying,
That's
like,
rude.
she just loses out on everything. Like, this is just awful.
I can see the headline right now.
She's
Fin
in the
Factor
middle
host Aaron Sholl calls Evander Kane's kid a loser.
She's in the middle of all of this drama and just terrible. I feel bad for her.
I do too.
I absolutely feel horrible. The other thing that could have happened here is the Sharks wanted to terminate his contract and couldn't.
Yeah.
They probably didn't have enough grounds before this happened. And they said, you know what, we're going to put him in the AHL. And if he reports, he reports. If he doesn't, then we can terminate his contract.
Right.
So he's going to report. We didn't put him on, what's it called? A conditional or a conditioning stint.
Oh, right.
Because then there's only a certain amount of time, then he has to get called up.
Yep.
So they knew he was probably going to do something stupid and be able to terminate his contract. So they're just waiting him out. That's like another theory there, right? Like,
Okay.
maybe they're just like, you know what? Evander's going to do his thing, and he'll do something. He's going to muck it up somehow, and we'll figure it out then. And it happened. That's
You think
another
that's the
thing.
thing? They're
Another
thinking
thing
Evander's going to Evander. Let's just wait him out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he's got a record. We got a track record of doing it, so I guess, that's a pretty solid bet. But no, so what they're saying is they don't have the grounds. Is Dan Milstein's saying they don't have grounds for contract termination.
Right.
If he traveled outside the country while in COVID protocol, yeah, they do.
Well, right now this is going to turn into a legal
Totally.
battle. It's going to be lawyers going after him. So
And speaking of that legal battle, NHLPA jumped in and
Correct.
basically said the same thing that Dan Milstein said. Once again, feel free to read.
okay. This is, again, from the NHLPA, the Players Association. We are aware of the San Jose Sharks' stated intent to terminate Evander Kane's contract. The NHLPA intends to challenge any such action by filing a grievance, which, they're going to do that. Like, they have to do that. That's their job. They basically came in and stated, we're doing our jobs here. Be ready for a grievance to challenge, or a challenge against the grievance. Like, we have to stick up for our players no matter
Right.
if we agree or not.
Right, and so we'll talk about Mike Richards later, but what you're saying basically is there wasn't really a precedence here.
No.
So they're just kind of stepping up to say, there isn't like a way that this normally goes necessarily. So we're going to jump in and we're going to take the side of the player, obviously the Players Association. That, of course, being different than the NHL itself. Two separate entities, don't get them confused, because the Player Association here by default mostly siding with the player, right? The NHL going to be siding mostly with
Owners.
teams and owners,
Yep.
right? So I think the last statement we have here, if I'm correct, it's from Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley, and actually we'll put that tweet on if we have it. Oh, no,
We don't have that
tweet.
one
It's
tweet.
an article that was written.
I'll quote
Yeah.
Shang Peng here. Wrote it on his Twitter. On his Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Wow.
Twitter.
Wow. It's
Sent
not
out
even
a twit
It's
on
not
his
even
Twitter.
late. It's not even late. Bill.
Nice.
So Bill Daley he works for the NHL. So he's on the owner side
Okay.
and the league side. Bill Daley on the NHL's position terminating his contract. I can say we are satisfied that they have adequate grounds to terminate. Now this is a big deal coming from Bill Daley because he, as so far the league has not stepped in or done anything. They've just kind of washed their hands and are like, we're not getting in that
Yeah.
drama. Keep it out. So the fact that they said something and said that we agree with the Sharks that they do have grounds means, oh wow, like this could actually have some legs to it and it could actually work.
Yeah, and this is something that the Sharks had wanted to do for quite a while, it looks like, right? They
Right.
wanted to get rid of this contract. So, and I think you had brought it up beforehand. The league hadn't said anything,
Yeah.
right? During that entire time where the Sharks wanted to get rid of that contract. Now that they're bringing this up, now that the NHL is agreeing with them, it seems like there is sufficient grounds. So Dan and the NHLPA. They might have some bad news coming their way, because if the league agrees with it, it seems like they wouldn't just agree, right? They
Right.
wouldn't just throw that out there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that makes it more legit. Like the Sharks they have a good case.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be up to a judge and lawyers fighting over it and semantics and stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, everyone's laughing at my Twitter comment. I was gonna take something else, but let's go to the example here. Is Mike Richards. The best example that's probably even remotely close is Mike Richards back in. Do you remember when this was?
No.
2015 looks like.
Check the tweeter.
I'll check Twitter and see what it says. Mike Richards, I believe he had an opioid addiction. Was not it wasn't related to his play. It was like his health. Like it was bad. And I remember he met with, at the time it was Dean Lombardi, I believe, was still the GM of the Kings. He met with him at his house and figured it out, what's going on and what's happening. So they were able to terminate his contract. Now everyone else in the league was kind of like, whoa, you can't just terminate this guy's contract, because he had a huge contract and it was for a number of years. Very similar to this situation. I think he actually had more years than what Kane has left, but still, everyone's kind of like, well, if you void this contract and terminate it, and there's no penalty whatsoever. Like that's not fair for the rest of the league that signed these contracts. And of course, every team has at least one contract on their team that they would love to get rid of. Just poof, right? Like gone. And especially a big one like that. Like there's many teams that have multiple contracts, similar to San Jose's issue. So of course, the rest of the league was kind of like, no, that's not fair. So they had to kind of figure it out on their own because nothing like that had happened before. So there was a penalty. There was a penalty for the Kings, essentially voiding his contract but getting penalized for it. So there was a cap hit. So he is still on the books, dead cap space. This is not Jeff Carter, Mike Richards. Jeff Carter's also on there, but Mike Richards is on the Kings, on the books for the Kings through 26-27, I believe. Is that the whole?
No, I think he's longer. 2032.
So 2032?
I think he's on the books till 2032.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. 2031-32 season. And it gets less. So right now, this year is $900,000 cap hit, which is like, that's your almost entry-level contract.
Fourth line guy.
Right. Yeah. And then it gets less. It goes 900 again next year, then 700, then 600, and then it's like eventually down to 500. It's pennies on the dollar. I would expect something similar to this, I guess you call it a deal, where the Sharks are going to get penalized. There's going to be a cap hit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Richards is a much different situation than breaching COVID protocol.
And I think that, like you said, the contract must have been longer. For Kane, I feel like if there's this extended penalty, if you will, kind of like how you would have a buyout, right? You double the years, right? If there is an extended penalty, I can't imagine we're going to be paying him out till 2032. That just seems like...
No, I don't think it would be that long.
Right? So whatever it is, it should be shorter.
Be wrong, but
having said that, you look at Richards and it's going down 900, 700, 600, 500, whatever it is, right? The cap hit then was probably, and the minimum salary was a lot smaller then than it is now. So I feel like if it were to kind of follow the same wavelength as the Richards situation, you'd probably not see the final year of that penalty down in the $500,000 range. You'd probably see it closer to like the $800,000, somewhere in that range. So you can imagine that the years leading up to that final year, it'd still be a pretty decent chunk, probably over $1 million, going down to that last final dollar amount. Is it better than $7 million a year? Absolutely. Even if it's twice the amount of years, absolutely. That's better than buyouts, right?
Yeah.
That's way better than even a buyout. So if this is the route that they can take to get rid of that contract, to get rid of the perceived cancer in the room, because it seems like everybody on the team just doesn't want him there. If that's what it takes to get rid of him, the penalty for that is much smaller than even I was hoping for. So I would be more than happy with that situation playing out the way it plays out for the Sharks. Now, again, for Evander, this sucks, right? If this goes through, because contract termination is not a buyout. They're not giving him that money. They're stopping the money, right? That's it. And right now, this guy's situation, he can use every dollar that he can get. Now, does he go back and sign a contract with another team? Now, you had talked about this. There was, I think, actually just maybe an hour ago or so, Kevin Kurz, who you all remember, of course, and Corey Masisak. I think I said his name right. They teamed up and wrote an article that came out just recently, actually just right before
Came out
the
an
show.
hour ago. Yeah.
And I think you looked at it. Now, there were some interesting points in there. I think there was something you wanted to bring up there.
Well, I don't want to give away. It's a paywall, so I don't want to give
Or
everything
just
away.
A
but
little something, though.
yeah. What could happen or what?
Give them a little line, and if they bite, maybe they'd like to subscribe to The Athletic because it's worth it.
Right.
So,
Sure, you put me on the spot here.
I am.
You want me- I mean, they're pretty much, they went over everything that we just talked about with the quotes and everything. We do have a quote actually from Bob Boughner who looked at, who was asked today what his thoughts were about it. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, they could trade him. They could do, his three-team trade, or his three-team, he has a no movement clause, a limited no movement clause where he can list 3 teams that he wants to go to. They believe that it's Tampa Bay, Florida, and Vancouver are the 3 teams that he has on his list. Florida's interesting.
Yeah.
Because they're a great team. They're stacked. Who's on Florida?
Jumbo.
Yep. And Jumbo, I think, and he got along. I think Jumbo kind of kept him in check while he was here. And when Jumbo left, stuff kind of hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
With him. So I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and signs maybe like a 1-year deal. If he was able to terminate his contract here and be free and be gone. Yeah. Florida would not be able to trade for him. They wouldn't have the cap space if they did it before anything. Vancouver's also interesting because he's from there, and they just cleaned house.
Yeah.
Like, they got rid of the GM and the coach and everything. And now they're winning like crazy because they got, was it Bruce Boudreau in there? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's interesting to see. I would not be surprised. There's going to be a team that's going to take him. I think. Okay. I think he will play this season.
See, and that's what I'm interested in because, and again, I think we'll give him one little nugget from there. There was a question posed to anonymous
2
GMs, right?
2 GMs, 2 executives. It says not
executives.
GMs.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, executives. 2 anonymous executives, and you want to just pick one of those and read off what they had said in terms of if they're looking at the players?
Sure. One says, we discuss every player, not a chance that we trade for Kane.
There you go. So if there's not a chance that we would trade for Kane, that's interesting wording there,
one
though.
of 31 other teams.
Sure. But that's interesting wording, though, right?
Yeah.
There's
we discuss
no way,
every player.
There's no way. No, of course they discuss every player, of course.
They have to know everything on everyone.
For me, it's the other part. We would not trade for Kane.
Yes. Well,
It doesn't say we don't want
It says
Kane.
not a chance, parentheses, that we trade for Kane. So the question is probably, would you trade for Kane?
And he just says not a chance.
Not a chance.
And then they filled it in.
Yeah. But
So
I see what
don't
you're
think
saying.
They don't want to give up an asset for him.
Exactly.
There's no way we're doing that.
Yep.
Do we take a flyer on him?
Absolutely.
Maybe.
As soon as they're free and ready to go. Look at the Tony DeAngelo situation.
Yeah.
The Rangers were like, he's never playing for the Rangers again. Or they're going to bury him in the minors. They waited until the season was over, which is what could happen to Kane. They could bury him in the minors or just say, don't show up. Don't even play. Just stay home and we'll pay you. And then we're going to buy you out in the summer when the buyout period happens.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Tony DeAngelo. He signed with Carolina, and he's having a very successful season.
Yeah.
So that is another route that could happen with the Sharks, which nobody really wants to see because that's a bigger cap hit and a longer cap hit than
contract termination would be.
Yeah.
No, I would love to see either the contract termination or, I mean, again, not many teams are probably going to be interested in a trade, but if we could just do a trade, not even getting necessarily big assets coming back. I'm not interested in that, but I don't think anybody wants to trade for just the reasoning that it's still got some years left on it and it's $7 million, and if we could just go out and grab the guy, just give him a new contract that's cheaper, shorter term. There's a lot less risk, and it's going to cost us a whole lot less, right? So that makes a lot more sense to every other team out there. So a lot of these people that were saying, that no one's going to trade for Kane. That's the truth of it. They're not going to trade for Kane, but it's not because of he's not a good player or he's a problem or whatever else. They'll still take him on the team. It's just that they're not willing to take on that contract for that amount of years, for that amount of money, and give something up to get him, right? Unless you're trading into Arizona, in which case they'll trade for nothing.
Yes, it's literally a bag of pucks.
Right.
Bob Boughner. So the news broke today before the game against Philadelphia, and Bob Boughner was asked before the game started today, kind of what his thoughts were. So we have a clip here being asked what he thought about the whole situation and what he thinks about it.
Yeah, I was just as surprised to hear as everybody else. It's obviously a management decision. And, I say the same thing that we've been dealing with here for a long time when his name comes up. It's not really a focus of this group. We're focused with the guys we have moving forward. And, we'll let that other, management decisions play out how they play out. But really, it's not it's not an issue for anybody here.
I may be too fresh to ask this, but, does this news in some way may provide some closure, I guess, and end for the coaching staff or the players, just to close the book on this saga, I guess?
I think we've done that a long time ago. I think that we understood the players that we were have on our roster this year and the guys that we're going to use, and we've been good at keeping that focus. We've just been concentrating on winning hockey games and hopefully developing the young guys as they're here and and just keep that team culture and that identity and really unless you're with us on our roster, then nothing else really is a concern of ours.
So yeah, I mean, Bob basically saying it was a surprise to him. I'm not sure how much of that is in truth.
Well, I would imagine that they would have warned him, like, hey, you're going to get asked questions because we're going to release this statement.
Yeah.
And I just don't imagine that Boughner's in the dark like that. Like, Nobody would put their coach, unless you just have terrible communication issues, but I don't think they do. Now, there was a question earlier, and I don't know the answer to this, is Doug Wilson has stepped down briefly for medical reasons. I don't know if he's back.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything. If he's back, if it is, then it's still Joe Will that's acting as GM right now. So I don't know the answer. Someone had asked. Do you know anything?
I haven't heard anything regarding Doug Wilson. Yeah. No news on him so far.
There's Anthony Sanchez.
Anthony asked about it.
Oh, Anthony asked there.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Someone else asked us that too last week, and I did not have an answer because we do have a picture up of him right here. When we met him, we interviewed him at the arena 2 years ago now.
That's me.
That's me. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of people are talking about Klingberg being possibly traded. I mean,
we're done with Kane now?
No, sorry. I'm just like, if this Kane contract is gone, the doors are going to open wide up for the Sharks.
Sure.
Possibly for this season.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of teams that have good players. They're not doing so well, like already trying to get rid of them.
Right.
Or trying to get rid of contracts that are bad. Now, of course, we would like to see them sign Hertl, but I'm sure they'll be like, hey, Hertl, we could give you, I don't know, $8 million a year, $9 million a year if you want to stay. So this is what we can afford now. Are you interested? If not, okay, then this is what's going to happen. We're going to try and trade you. I mean, can you imagine if they traded Hertl for a nice asset coming back that could play now and also draft picks or a prospect, a hot prospect or something? Like, he could become we can get quite the return coming back, I think, with all that cap space.
I think we could definitely get a solid return for Hertl. And I said this in a Twitter reply for somebody else, or tweeter, sorry. Maybe it was an Instagram. But we were talking, and I'm saying the problem with sending Hertl away is that who you send him to, your first that you're getting is going to be a deep 20th, right? 28th overall in the first round. That's to me is not getting good value for a guy like Tomas Hertl. So what comes along with the first is really going to be like the big piece of the puzzle, because the first round pick, again, being in the late 20s, unless it's a super deep draft, it's just another guy. It could be just like another Mirko Mueller situation, right? Yep. I'm not interested in getting Mirko Mueller for Tomas Hertl. So I'm interested in the known quantity. If you're going to send a prospect my way, that prospect has to be a grade A prospect, right? To go along with that,
someone drafted in the last 2 years that's not quite in the NHL yet, or in the NHL, but
But then, why would they give him up? Then,
Exactly.
Right?
If they're in the NHL, no. But if it's someone that's up and coming,
if it's an up and coming guy who you've got on, say, if he's 2 years in, you've got him still on an entry level contract, or even on his first contract, right? He's still very young. You still own his rights. He's probably an RFA, right? To me, I mean, especially if he's contributing, I don't see that team wanting to unload that player. Now you get Tomas Hertl, yes, but at the end of the day, he would be considered a rental player unless they can get him to re-sign there. And most teams that are making the playoff push, maybe they have the cap space to re-sign a rental player. They probably don't.
no.
If you look at teams like Tampa Bay and Toronto, right, those guys are kind of up there, and they don't have the cap space.
That's my point. They could be trading someone back that has a big salary that the Sharks would be able to absorb in order to get Hertl over there.
Potentially, yeah. But then, okay, so we got this guy with another big salary coming back. Do we want to put ourselves in that position? So you get yourself a player who's about, maybe talent-wise similar, maybe not as good, obviously, because then why trade him? And you get a prospect, or you get at least a draft pick back, which is nice. But if that guy's going to end up, it's just going to be another situation where you've got a bunch of salary, right?
It's a first-round pick, a prospect, and maybe a player with a high salary. That's kind of like to me, that would be the asking price for Hertl.
Yeah, I think that player would have to have, that third player you're talking about would have to have an expiring contract, though, right?
Right.
Like, that team can let him go for this season to have the cap space for it.
Yes. I'm not saying be the Arizona Coyotes and take on an 8-year contract.
Yeah, we don't.
Just like someone that has a year or two left that's still very good and can play, but just has a high contract, and they'll be done.
Is Datsuk still on their books?
I don't think so.
Probably. I don't know.
I thought it was Zetterberg that was...
Oh, God. Who knows? They got everybody in the league over there. But anyway, okay. Are we done with Evander Kane for today at least? I'm sure next episode, tune back in. We'll be talking about Evander Kane again. It's ridiculous.
They only have Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Darcy Kemper, and Michael Grabner as a buyout history. Grabner, man, what happened to that guy? I think that's it. That's their only dead space, which is amazing. Really? They had a bunch come off the books, I think, this year. Okay. I mean, they had Marian Hossa on their team still. Right. The guy hasn't played in 6 years, 7 years. It's crazy. Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're looking at when you have buyout situations and contract terminations and that kind of thing. You're going to have players on your books for much longer than they've actually played for you. So obviously Martin Jones for the Sharks, the last buyout candidate that we had, he's going to be on there for a while too, right?
But I can't believe that he signed a 2-year contract with Philly for $2 million. That's amazing. It wasn't a 1 year. A 1 year, let me see what you can do deal. It was, you're still good. I mean, Philadelphia.
To be fair, the guy just stopped 44 out of 47 with a .936 save percentage, granted, against the Sharks with Weatherby as the second-line center.
Yeah.
But,
come on.
But, he's still got it in him, I'm telling you. He's not a bad goalie.
I don't think he's a bad goalie. I think he's a serviceable backup. But someone that you'd pay $2 million when I feel like you could have paid him $1 million. Because he's still getting paid by the Sharks.
I'm guessing somebody else was in the running. Somebody else wanted him too.
Martin Jones is getting $1.9 million through 26-27.
All right. I didn't write down any of the upcoming games. Do you know the games that are coming up here?
They're home Tuesday against Detroit.
Okay.
So
that's a big one. That's payback.
A rematch against the Red Wings at home. And then Thursday's a big one. That's the Rangers, and they're like the top team in the league right now. Okay. And then Saturday, another rematch with the Penguins. Oh. So they see these teams twice a year. One at home, one away, and they're doing it all in the same week.
Right.
Like, just getting it over with, I guess, ripping the Band-Aid off. It's crazy.
It'll be nice to play against Detroit after that 6-2 loss. I think at home, hopefully, they'll have, all 3,000 fans backing them up. And
Hey, that game I went to last week was the fullest I'd seen the arena in a long time. I would say it was over 90% full.
Really?
It was almost a sellout crowd. I was impressed. And it was loud, and it was noticeable. That was against the Philly, the Flyers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the draw because it was Philly, the timing because it was the week between Christmas and New Year's. I think just a lot of that kind of fell into place. So it was rocking, man. The arena was rocking. It felt great to be back. It felt almost normal, minus the mask on my face that I was screaming into.
Yeah. Go Sharks!
Yeah, so muffled. So muffled.
All right, cool. Do you want to do roll call?
Sure, let's do roll call. Roll call, tell us where you are watching from. And
Do you think that they have sufficient grounds for contract termination?
On a tweet or
On the tweet.
on the tweeter. That's great. No, there's still comments. Samuel wrote it again like a couple minutes ago.
Nobody liked my Instagram joke. I'm sorry.
Instagram.
Instagram. Instead of Instagram. It's tweeter. Yeah.
or dad shoes.
Dad
Show off
shoes.
your dad shoes.
I got them. They're right here. The DCs. I don't know. This is dad shoes.
All white? Yeah,
I
that's
think
nice.
it's it.
That's really good.
Whatever. They're comfortable.
I need my toaster.
I buy one pair of shoes every like 5 years. So they're comfortable and I'm done.
Yeah, Anthony Sanchez. Philly has always had goalie issues. That's my point. I can't believe
Yeah.
they signed a goalie that had the worst save percentage for, goalies over so many games for the last 2 seasons. I just like, what? Oh, okay.
I think his point was they're trying to continue the tradition, Aaron.
Absolutely. And Philly being Philly, did you notice there's some hand gestures over by Hertl?
Oh,
after he
yeah.
scored the goal? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they were just saying he was number one
Yeah.
with their longest finger.
It's because their pointer finger, I think, was gone, so
Oh,
they
is
had
that what
to
it
use
is?
a different
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah, there you go. Well, either way, we agree he's number one. Very happy with Hertl. Don't want to see him leaving.
They should have been
That
like
shit.
this. 3! You scored 3!
Yeah, exactly. But, oh well. All right. Any other comments here? He's laughing. Go ahead.
No, I'm laughing at the 3 comment.
Oh, okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Check the tweeter. Melissa J said, I doubt that billionaire like Hassa would have consulted his legal team before doing this. I would almost say the other way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he
didn't
cares.
care. Yeah.
To me, Plattner is probably the best owner to have if you were the GM. Because you form...
It's his toy.
Yeah, you form a nice relationship with
Yeah.
him. He likes you. I'm sure he loves Doug Wilson. Just
Yeah.
loves his family. Very personable. I mean, he's also German, so they have a different kind of mindset than, I guess, American billionaire owners.
Yeah.
So, like, he was always asked about SAP Arena and when they're going to demo it and build a new arena. And he's like, you Americans always want to build something new. There's nothing wrong with this building. We will fix it. I have no problem spending money to fix it and keep it going. It's not going anywhere, which I agree. It's like, we don't need to... Can you imagine demoing the arena and building a new one? First of all, where would you put it? In downtown. It probably wouldn't be in downtown anymore, which is awful. It's the best place to be in downtown. I mean, look at Arizona. That's why they've failed so much, is because it's not even in a downtown area. It's like in the middle of nowhere.
What if they demoed SAP and then built it right on top of where SAP
It
was?
would take too long.
And played a season at Levi's.
Outdoor.
All
They can't do
outdoor.
outdoor.
That'd be sweet.
No,
You
where
know
are
it.
the Niners going to play?
Whatever,
They
just
overlap for
turn
a
it
lot of
down,
time.
Whatever.
Let's just play at the Barracuda Stadium, the new one that's opening up
That'd be
next
cool.
year.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was going to say they have about the same
4,000.
amount of fans right now that can make it in, but he says otherwise, so there you go.
Was that 4,000 seats?
4,000 something
Yeah.
seats, yeah. That's going to be rocking.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that one.
I'm close to doing the season tickets,
I am
and
too.
I can't make all the games.
Me neither. Let's
So-
do it.
All right,
Combined forces. I think it's a $50 deposit. That's it.
All right, I'm in.
All right, done.
Let's do it.
We will have the Fin Factor season tickets to the Barracuda.
How much is the nice suite?
I don't know.
We
I
need
don't know if the
more
prices have come out.
Venmo and more super chats so we can get the sweet people. Anyway, all right, cool.
Obstructed view.
The obstructed view? Yeah.
Right.
Any other comments here, or do we? There was other games that you wanted to talk about for this week, though, because we only talked about Payback with Detroit. I know we said that they're going to be playing Pittsburgh as well, and they're playing. Who else was the other game now?
Rangers.
Rangers, the best team in the league. So
What's
now
your-
let's take a look at these three here. Okay, I think we get Payback against Detroit, but I don't know about the Rangers, and I don't know about Pittsburgh. So tell me how you feel, Mr. Fantasy Hockey. Let me know what you think here.
The Rangers are going to be tough, but the way the Sharks are playing this season, where they play up against good teams, I'm going to say that they'll lose to the Rangers and they'll probably beat them because they're, I don't know. It also is going to depend on who's in the protocol.
That's my other question: is
that's
who
hard.
do we get back now?
Yeah.
Right? Who comes back?
I mean, we
'Cause
got
don't know.
Ferraro back, and that was a huge deal missing him.
Massive.
Absolutely huge. Oh, the other thing we were talking about was Vlasic. Vlasic
Oh, yeah.
was scratched for the first time, I think, in a very long time in his career. I know a lot of people last week were calling for him to be scratched,
Yes.
and I think this is the first game after that show because
Right.
it was against Detroit.
So very clearly, the message to take away here is that the coaching staff is watching the Fin Factor, and they are taking your comments. So please make sure that you get the rest of your friends and family and other Sharks fans in here to give their comments and opinions, because obviously it works and it gets things done.
Absolutely.
100%. You can't wear dad's shoes to the suite, I don't think. That's hateful, Sam. I'm going to call you Sam. I'm going to call you
read that.
Samuel.
I was about to point that one out.
Thank
too.
you. I appreciate it.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
No, I got the glasses on. I just being lazy. Only if you broadcast shows this week. I would totally do that. And the reason that comment is up there is because Super Producer Jason is on board, right? He wants to do it. Look at him. He's smiling. He's smiling back there.
I think we need to do an updated tour of the place because I'm sure it's way more
Yeah.
finished than it was when we went and
Yeah.
did our tour this
Yeah.
summer. I think we went this summer.
We'll make some suggestions, and the brass will listen to us. And
Yeah. You're funny.
I am.
Jeez.
Hilarious.
Anthony said we should go back to the Cow Palace if they demo.
I can
SAP
see it
in
for a
Quebec.
season?
Absolutely
See that?
not.
For a season.
That place is awful.
It is, but for hey,
No. Who is it? Who is the team? Was it the Bulls? The San Francisco Bulls,
Bulls.
right?
Yeah.
They're awful.
So
Like the Cow Palace is awful. The Cow Palace is awful in '91.
so
It's 30 years ago.
So Hasso-Plattner puts some money into the Cow Palace. Right? They just buy a lot of Febreze.
The Cow Palace did not age well. It didn't get better after 30 years. It got worse.
I'm saying he'll pump some money into
Oh.
it. It'll be fine.
It already had like 40 years worth of disgusting smells in it. Now add another 30. That's 70 years of just cows and because it was for cows. Like they had what do you call it?
Yeah.
Rodeos. In
Rodeos.
there.
Yeah, they had rodeos.
Ugh, it's so gross. You can't get that smell out.
Dude, Febreze will work. I'm telling you. He's got billions of dollars, as Miss J said. So
Matt Lowe said you guys need to be the official podcast of the CUDA. I think they have one. Don't they have one?
they do. Nick Nolenberger.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of the podcast, though, and I'm not saying that because I'm not trying to drive traffic, but it is Nick Nolenberger. He is the voice of the Barracuda, essentially
Yeah.
Randy Hahn for the CUDA, and he does a podcast on top of that. He's a very hardworking dude. Very good person as far as I could tell and everything. I've chatted with him a little bit. We wanted to get him on the show one time actually, and we just never
think
made
it was
it happen.
before COVID,
Yeah,
right?
it was probably before COVID because I remember
Yeah.
walking up to him after a practice.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to one of the practices in a very long time. I certainly haven't walked up to anybody without a mask on in a very long time. So. It was a long time ago. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see if we can kind of reconnect and chat with him a little bit because I'm sure he's got some really good insights on the Sharks prospects that are coming through the pipeline there, and of course maybe he's got a little bit of insights on the arena and that kind of thing too. So that'd be kind of interesting to talk with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, anything else we wanted to talk about?
not that I can think of, unless there's something there. Are they just making fun of you with Tweeter and my dad shoes still?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna send a twit about my shoes.
Twit.
It's Twitter. Send a twit.
Oh. Wow.
And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and end this one. Hey, guys,
Off
again,
the
thank you
rails.
so much for tuning in. And if you had the misfortune of seeing this as a retweet or a share and jumping into our show, thank you for showing up. We appreciate that.
Retweet?
Yeah, retweet. Yeah, there you go, if it was retweeted. This is really... Thanks a lot, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Yes, please feel free to, like is great. Comments are awesome. Subscribe if you can, because as we go live, we'd love to have you guys jumping in here, giving us the comments, having your friends jump in, family jump in, other Sharks fans jump in. Give us some comments, things to talk about. We love doing that, so it makes the show so much fun for us. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you get the notification when we do go live. Any last second anythings you want to throw out here?
Oh, our website.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
TheFinFactor.com, where you can go and support the show by getting some T-shirts, perhaps a nice white
Water bottle?
water bottle. Thank you. It doesn't have to be water; it can be anything. A nice water bottle, fanny pack, right? Stickers, hats, like the
You
one
didn't
that
bring
I'm
it,
wearing
did you?
right now. What? The fanny pack? No, I forget what happened.
He did wear it to the game.
I
that we went
did.
to.
I stuffed it with candy and gave one piece of candy out.
Creepy.
Kind of creepy. I see that now. Thanks for telling me, guys. Appreciate that. And with that, we will see you guys the next time, which you will know if you are subscribed. So there you go. For super producer Jason, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And I'm embarrassed for all of us. We will see you guys
Next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find